What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Cookin and Kickin with Mike. Today, we are cooking on the Kamado Joe, doing direct heat, and we're cooking nothing else but pork steaks. So, as always, let's get the party started. Judge me for having a White Claw. I don't want to hear it from none of you. That's what was in the fridge. My wife likes it. Cheers. Like I said earlier, guys, we are doing pork steaks today. I'm gonna walk this on over to you guys so you can get a look. But check that out. Now what this is this is about an inch cut off of the pork shoulder. So we're not doing that typical, hey, we're gonna have pork chops tonight for dinner, I'm tired of chicken, I'm tired of steak. What we did was we bought a whole pork shoulder, we sliced it off, and by we, I mean Lee Bones Fine Meats did this, and they actually chopped it up for me so I didn't have to buy a whole pork shoulder. But guys, it's a super inexpensive cut. All it is you take the pork shoulder, right, it'd be about sticking out to here, and you run your knife into edges, and you run your knife about as thick as you'd want it to be. Okay, super easy. Now what we're gonna do with this today is we're gonna cook it over direct heat. We're only gonna season with salt and pepper because we're gonna add a lot of our flavors in the little mop sauce that we make together. That mop sauce is gonna include like a mustardy barbecue sauce, some garlic, herbs, onions, spices, a little bit of lemon juice even, a little bit of zest. Okay, we're gonna cook that over direct heat till it gets to about 190. I don't want it to be shreddable like pulled pork, but I do want it to be pulled pork tender. And we should be able to get that with this good meat, right? It's got a ton of marbling. This is about, honestly, if I'm looking at it, about a 40 to 60% meat to fat ratio. So it's not the healthiest thing in the world, but it's gonna be tasty, and that's why we're cooking it today. So I'm gonna start out with my pepper, and the reason I'm starting out with my pepper is because I wanna see how much salt I'm putting on. It's a big cut of meat, but we can definitely over salt it. So I'm putting down that pepper layer, and then I'm gonna come in and add my salt after, just so I know exactly where I'm at. All we've got is coarse ground black pepper and kosher salt. The regular for barbecue, guys. And like I said, the reason that we're only doing salt and pepper right now is because we're gonna add a ton of flavors in on that mop sauce. That's where it's gonna get a bunch of the flavors. Remember, pat that meat, don't rub it. All right, again, let's go with the black pepper. Guys, I'm excited to cook this. This is gonna be a good little mix up from steak or chicken. It's inexpensive, so if you mess it up, you're not gonna feel too bad about it, but we shouldn't be able to mess it up, guys. It's a very forgiving cut of meat. Remember, don't forget the edges. Pulled pork is a very hard thing to mess up, so I'm gonna assume that these pork steaks are gonna be about the same. Get that fat cap nice and seasoned. Whew. Guys, it is heating up in Arizona. I'm gonna have to figure out some way to cook out here while it's this hot. Barbecue might slow down in the summer in Arizona where it picks up for most people. All right, make sure we're getting this all good. I'm gonna let that sweat out and I'll be back. These pork steaks have sweated on, they're looking wet. I know that the salt has been absorbed, so I'm gonna throw these on. Guys, I've got this Kamado Joe, Kettle Joe running at about 300 degrees, and I've got lump charcoal in the bottom and some little splits of cherry wood. So this is going to get a little bit of smoke flavor, but we're still getting that direct heat. So as this fat is rendering down, it's gonna hit those coals and it's gonna steam up, and we're gonna get that nice charcoal flavor on these pork steaks. It's gonna be delicious. All right, guys, so we're gonna get this mop sauce ready. I just probed the pork steaks and they're at around 140, so it's perfect mop zone. So what I got here is half a white onion. I'm gonna plop that in there, nothing too fancy about it. I got 3 cloves of garlic. Plop those in there. I got the juice of half a lemon. Got a bunch of red chili flakes. Ooh, a little spice on there, be nice. And then I've got Saucy Luke's Dirty Blonde. This is a mustard sauce. He's a local, great barbecuer, friend of mine. It's a mustard-based barbecue sauce, like I said. I'm gonna pour that in there. And then I've got a beer for a little bit of volume. All right, thin that out a little bit. Now, I don't have an induction burner out here, so I'm gonna go throw this inside, get it ready to go. All right, guys, I brought this mop sauce to a boil. So I've just got my mop right here. You can see everything in there has blended together well. I just flipped these. They have great caramelization on them. So I'm just gonna mop this in. What this is gonna do is it's gonna help absorb a ton of flavor. And then as this extra liquid goes down and hits the coals, it's just gonna steam back up as it continues to render out that fat. Now, once I get to this stage in the cook, guys, I'm gonna turn this over, start flipping these about every 5 to 10 minutes. I'm gonna get this lid shut down, and we'll see you in a little. All right, guys, so when these got to about 190, I wrapped them up, mopped them again, and just let them rest out here. So we're gonna unwrap them and we're gonna see how we did. Oh man, that is looking juicy. Oh, come on, don't stick to the foil. Oh man, guys, that just looks beautiful. This one was a little bit bigger, so this one hasn't been resting as long, which I know it's supposed to rest it for longer, but hey, I'm making a show today. Whatever. Man, they came out a little bit darker than I would have liked, but that's just because there's a ton of fat on these guys. And you know, when you cook over direct heat, you get those flare-ups. So let's slice into this and see how we did. Oh man, you can just hear these juices coming off. Look at that. We got a smoke ring and it is nice and tender. That one's still a little hot. I'm not gonna eat that one yet. But this one, oh, real hot. Oh, real freaking tasty though. All right, guys, so let's talk about this cook. It was super easy and it turned out delicious. That mop sauce adds such a complexity to the flavors with that nice salt pepper base, and taste the mustard sauce in it. I can taste the garlic and the onions that we re-added into it. Guys, this is really good. And it was a fun cook. I'm cooking over an open flame. I gotta use a mop, turn it every couple minutes, you know. It was a very interactive cook, but it wasn't very challenging. Pork steaks are pretty forgiving because they have a ton of fat on the inside. Jimmy, you want some? That's a good boy. You know, there's a ton of fat on the inside. We came out with a beautiful crust, nice and hard on the outside, but still just pull apart tender, guys. It was awesome. Go to your butcher. I went to Lee Bones. If you're in Arizona, that's where you should be going anyways. It's the highest quality meat. Tell them you want a couple pork steaks cooked off the pork shoulder. If they won't do it for you, buy a whole pork shoulder. They're not that expensive. And then whatever you don't use for pork steaks, you can make pulled pork for later. It's a great little deal, super inexpensive. And guys, I'm super happy with how it turned out. I even got a little smoke ring from adding those cherry blocks in on my charcoal. I will definitely be doing this one again. And I'm pretty freaking hungry, so I'm gonna keep eating this, but you guys don't need to watch that. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you had a good time.